Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter as part of our chapter of Bhagavad Gita daily. We'll get started here. And the first to go in will be Sutapa Mataji, reading us 2 verses from there. Can you see that, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, I can see. Nature, the enjoyer and the consciousness. Text 1 and 2. Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." Text 3. O Shayana Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body is knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Hare Krishna. Shurichi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Text 4. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activity is, and what his influences are. Text 5. The knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writing. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to the cause and effect. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. The 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered, in summary, to be the field of activities and the interactions. Text 8 to 12. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Aruni
Sutapa
Mataji, you
Mataji.
can. No, Aruni
Yeah.
Mataji joined. Aruni Mataji, you can go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Text
Hare
13. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Text 14. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the supersoul exists, pervading everything. So who's next?
Mataji,
Yeah.
is just stuck or
Yeah. Come on.
Text 15. The Supersoul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. Text 16. The Supreme Truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Hare Krishna. Shuruchi Mataji.
Text 17. Although the super soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Text 18. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Text 19. Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotee can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. Text 20. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformation and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Hare Krishna, Aruni Mataji.
Could you scroll up, please, Shraddha Mataji?
Okay.
Text 21. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. Text 22. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Sudhaba Mataji.
No, Shraddha Mataji joined. Shraddha Mataji, you can go ahead. Next.
Yeah, no, actually, go ahead and read. I'm not quite prepared. Thank you.
All right. So welcome, Sanna Mataji. And who's going in next? In the
Oh,
Sudhaba Mataji.
oh, yes. Okay. Text 22. The living entity is material nature, thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Text 23. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists is the overseer seer and permeator, and who is known as the super soul. Hare Krishna. Shuruchi Mataji.
Text 24. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Text 25. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Text 26. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the supreme person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Text 27. O chief of Bharata, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Hare Krishna, Aruni Mataji.
Text 28. One who sees the supersoul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul within the destructible body is ever destroyed actually sees. Text 29. One who sees the supersoul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination.
Yeah.
Sudhama Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 30. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Text 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Shruti Mataji.
Text 32. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with material body, O Arjuna, soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Text 33. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, those situated in that body. Hare Krishna. Varshyana Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Text 34. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Text 35. Those who see the eyes of knowledge, those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what I'm going to do, thank you so much for reading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to chapter 12, right, of Bhagavad Gita, so that we can do a verse from there. And then if time permits, then we'll come and discuss. So we said that we'll continue to do a little bit of the text number 16, okay? So please continue reading on that.
Adoni Mataji.
Okay. Can you make it a bit bigger, please? The text.
Sure.
Annapekshah suchir daksha yudashino gatavyataha sarvaramba parityagi yo mat bhaktah same priyaha.
Synonyms? Mataji, we'll read synonyms today or?
Yes.
Okay. Anapeksha, neutral. Shuchi, pure. Dakshaha, expert. Udashinaha, free from care. Gata vathaha, free from all distress. Sharva arambha, all endeavors. Prati, Parityagi, renouncer. Ya, anyone who. Madhvaktaha, my devotee. Sha, he. Me, to me. Priyaha, very dear.
Translation. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. Naturally, a devotee takes a bath at least twice in a day and rise early in the morning for devotional service. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life, and he is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. Therefore, he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body, is a designation. So, if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy, and a devotee does not take to such business if it does not befit, if it does not benefit him by advancing by advancing his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so now we have some time. We can share our reflections on any of the things.
Mataji,
Yeah, I just
the body is
go on.
okay. Aruni Mataji, I have a short question. Just
No, go
Mataji,
ahead. Yeah.
yeah, the body is a designation. Does that mean that we are supposed to get a body?
No, no,
Does
no,
that?
no. Okay, sorry. The designation means I am. I am the manager. I am a software engineer. I am a subordinate, like that. So similarly, the first designation is that I'm a man. I'm a woman, right? So that is, but soul is neither man nor woman, like that, right? Actually, so that is a designation that you get. The
Okay.
body is just a designation for you, but inside you're actually a soul. So you are a king. You are a warrior, like that. So that is coming from the body. That designation is coming from the bodily thing. Otherwise, soul inside is all the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Just the consciousness of the soul that is different, like that. So does that help?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah. That usually we use the term designation as somebody who's holding a post or an office, but on a wider sense, the designation is coming to, like, I'm designated as a woman, black, white, American, Indian. Okay. Who else was trying to say something?
No, I was going to ask about, I don't know which verse, and I don't know if I'm taking it out of context, but it said, for the man who does not strive for any goal. Was it any goal, or does not strive for anything? But in the previous verse that we read, it said one who lives in an isolated area and who strives for realization of me. So the two are at variance, but it could be a different context. I mean, I'm just wondering about that.
Yeah. So you can strive as much as you want towards devotional activities. It's supposed to be, and so when you strive for something, what are some of the effects of striving?
Stress.
Stress. You see, right? That's the biggest one. I was expecting that. So when you're striving, so when you strive for spiritual things also, you, in those cases also, you get some stress, but that stress is known as a transcendental stress. It does not fall into the category of material stress. Material stress you will get when you are pursuing some material goals, and in either case you will not get any stress if you don't focus on the results. The stress comes from focusing on the result, whether I'll get it or whether I'll not get it. And so there's a desire, and mostly in the case of material desires, since the focus is ourselves, we are trying to get it for ourselves, then the stress is a lot more, because there is that strong desire is there to enjoy it. And when any obstacles come in the way, and obstacles can come in the way of other people also, so when those kind of obstacles come in our way, we don't like it, and then the anger comes, and bewilderment and delusion, and all that whole cycle gets started there. That's why they say, whatever you're doing, yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi, yat. Krishna is saying, whatever you do, you just do it for me. Because when you're doing it for me, then that's fine. For example, Prabhupada gives a nice example of a person who is a clerk in the bank. He sits there and he can count thousands of dollars in a day. But he really doesn't care how much money is coming in and how much money is coming out. He's just doing the job of counting, not focus on the results, in the sense that, how much the bank richer or poorer today by way of that. So when it comes to striving, people can strive very, very hard. They can strive very, very hard to, towards certain things. And there's a, I'm forgetting, but there's a very nice story that a person was, there was a lot of heat on his son. So the sun was very strong. So he was complaining, our sun is very strong. It's falling on my head. It's falling on my head. And then so he walked and went and sat under the tree. So this is striving, he walked a long distance to go and sit under a tree. He was striving for some result. He was striving to get free from the scorching sun. And I'm not saying that we should not do that, but this is just to illustrate an example of striving. And he strived that much, walked a long distance. There was a lonely tree there. He went and sat underneath the tree. And then, a branch or something fell from the tree and fell on his head and then broke his head. So striving, as long as you're doing striving for transcendental efforts, that's fine. I mean, we are all striving. This is the month of December, striving very, very hard. We don't go to sleep. Prabhupada hardly slept, right? But that's a different kind of a striving. He was striving for spreading Krishna consciousness. And you see that for all the striving that he did at that advanced an age, Krishna gave him so much of energy to do that, right? He's a Shakti avatar of Krishna, empowered soul. And so striving, but we were Sarvarambha Parityagi. The Sanskrit for that is Sarvarambha Parityagi. So we don't do that. We don't use the ordinary course of activities. Ordinary course of activity is that, suppose my child is going to give an interview in Google, then what will I start? What are the kind of striving that I can do in that situation? Let us have some ideas.
Praying.
Okay, that's a good striving.
That he should get the job.
Okay, so it's a desiring. So constantly being, yeah. Okay. What other striving can you do? All right. So Sadhana Mataji is, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Varshana. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, Mataji, to you see, find out the ways how to sit in the interview, what questions will be asked, to prepare him for that, you see, to
Yes.
help him to prepare in that.
Very good.
To sit in the interview.
Very good. And how will you find out?
I mean, we can Google and get all the information and tell the child to sit down and go through it.
There you go, right? So you'll Google and you sit down, okay? So that's going to happen, yes. And what else will you do?
Google has become God.
Google has become God.
And then Mataji, tell the child, I mean, you have prepared from your side. If you get it, wonderful. If you don't get it, it's okay. Leave it to the hands of the Lord. You have done your bit. It's okay.
Yeah, that's what a devotee parent will say. Okay, right. What else can you do by way of striving? So this is your striving on your side, right? Wouldn't you call anybody in Google?
No.
No,
And
Mataji.
And why not? Why would you not call anybody in Google? I would call. I would call to ask that, what does Google look for? Because different companies look for different things. For example,
but if you don't know anyone in the company, then
that is fine. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. If you don't know anybody in Google, then what will you do? As way of striving, I'm just saying people who want to strive.
Ask friends, friends who might know people or friends who work there.
There you go. So you see how this striving can get so entangling?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, one was that, your child should read. Second is, no, I should also read. I should also Google for the child. Like, no, okay, fine. No, my friend should also Google and find out, come on, my child is going to get it, So this is striving. So what they're saying is that if you want to do, now I'm going to give it a transcendental twist. Now, all right, so I want to distribute Bhagavad Gita. Now, can I be approaching Google for doing that? Can I approach my friends to find out who in Google is interested in that, who in Intel is interested? I can do that, right? So you see, I can do the same amount of striving. I can be reaching out to people, but I'm doing it for a transcendental purpose, right? If I go and ask somebody like, hey, do you know about any venture capitalists? I can ask that question. Number one, because I want to start my own company. Number two, I can ask that question because venture capitalists, this is December, they might be thinking of donating. And I might just, need some Lakshmi to run my project. And that's why in this verse, Prabhupada says money may be offered to a devotee. But, you do not struggle very hard to acquire it. So you reach out to people, you ask them, and that's it. Now don't go and ever beyond. So have faith in the Krishna and do your thing. Karmanevadhikaraste ma phaleshu. So you do your thing, right? You do your thing, but don't strive out to the other extremes. And if you have to really strive, then striving for transcendental activities is okay if you strive there. But for material, it's very entangling. It'll be like going and sitting under the shade of that tree and then plunk, something falls on your head. Like that from there. Does that help, Aruni Mataji? You had asked that question, right? Devi?
No, I didn't ask.
You didn't ask? Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. The striving. Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I just didn't relate it to Google and all that.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, I really like this line where a devotee never takes part in a particular party, therefore he is a carefree. And Guru Maharaj Ji said in one of his lectures that these days you see people go to one party and to the you see vote for the other party, and then the other party wins, and then they change their party. You see, this is better. Why not shift into that?
Yes.
I really like that part.
Yes, they have no alignment. Right?
Yeah.
They will just follow that. Politicians do all the time. I mean, they are the biggest liars, right? They are said to be the biggest liars. Okay. Yeah. And then, I brought that verse here, right? So it says anapeksha. So, so this word peksha you see here. So peksha comes from paksh. And paksh means side, right? So paksh means to take sides. So a person will not take sides. So if a devotee will not be too much hung up on whether it is Republican or whether it's Democratic, whether it's Congress or BJP or whatever, things are, how they're talked about. So he doesn't go in this direction and that direction. So we have to, the paksh actually comes from the word party. So he doesn't have a mentality of groupism. And this is something so nice that Prabhupada actually brought about, how through ISKCON he connected people from all different kinds of countries, right? And so it's easy while we are at ISKCON to relate with different kinds of different devotees from different countries, and we don't seem to mind that at all, right? Although in other countries, other areas, we might still have that thing, right? So like, hi, you're from South Africa. Hey, you're from Canada. You're from Brazil. Oh, Haribol, Haribol. So that Haribol combines everything. And Vaisheshika Prabhu tells about that example of, I think he was in Japan, and he was supposed to reach some brahmachari ashram, and he landed there very late in the night. His flight was delayed. And so he went there, it was completely closed. And he didn't know the security number of the flat where he's supposed to go. So he just didn't know what to do. So he just went to that security system and pressed the buzzer. He just did not know who it was. And then he just said, Hari Bol. And the person on the other side picked up. And he said, Hari Bol, and the sound came. He pressed the buzzer and let him in. It was very late, I think 2:00 in the morning or something like that. And no questions asked. He just said Hari Bol. They let him in, and he just crashed on the floor and went to sleep. so that unification. So what Prabhupada did was he unified everybody under one umbrella. That was ISKCON, and that he did a fantastic job of that actually. So here we're talking about anapeksha. So that person is not, it doesn't have a concept, or it doesn't have a mentality of grouping. This is my group. This is that group, right? So they will be, so in this contest, the question might be asked that, should I not show any interest? Should I not be interested in knowing whether it's Democrat or whether it is, Republican? So one is that there's a word called as uninterested, and then another one is disinterested, right? So uninterested means I have no interest. I have no interest at all. So basically what that means is that playing golf, right? I don't like playing golf. I don't want to play golf. I don't have anything to do with golf. I am uninterested. People around me can go to play golf, they can do whatever they want to do. I'm not interested. You can come and ask me to come play golf. I will not go with you. So that is uninterested. Then disinterested. The word disinterested is slightly different. What the disinterested does is that, I'm interested in that subject, but I don't have a vested interest in it, right? Because our interest will go whenever we see that there is something coming in it for me. What's in it for me? What's in it for me, right? So I don't have a vested interest in that. But occasionally, if I'm required to, find out a little bit more, dig deeper into it, I will dig deeper into it for that particular moment, right? I will do it. So I'm not like that. So a devotee will, stay uninterested, will be uninterested in certain things. For example, the 4 regulative principles, right? He's not interested in any of those 4 things. But then disinterested is that, he might go and research and do something if his job requires him to do that, right? For example, a person might not be interested in making money. There it says. But then Prabhupada again says that if money is offered to him, he does not, but he does not endeavor too much. He's disinterested. He's not interested. But it could happen a situation in life comes where he might be required as part of his duty. Like Prabhupada, when he came, he had to establish temples all over the world. He had to set up a printing press. And so he would ask his disciple that go and ask, who's that famous Beatle? I'm forgetting his name. Who gave money for the Krishna book?
George Harrison.
George Harrison, thank you so much. Yeah, of course, Sadhana Mataji would know. She's from
Yeah.
from UK. And so George Harrison, so he would go and ask him. So anybody on that space of it might say that, how come? You are a devotee of the Lord, how come you're talking these things, right? So they will come, they will go there, they're in their inner self, all insight focused, but every now and then they will go out and do something which might appear on the top to be material, but then they'll come back to the center, which is Krishna. And even when they had a spike like that, heading off in a different direction, so-called different direction, the intention is still pure because they're doing it for Krishna, like that. So this anapeksha is a very strong word there. And then suchir daksha. Suchi, we said, is all about, internal and external cleanliness there. So I will have to take your leave there now because I'm 3 minutes late. Sorry for abandoning. But Monday, we will read again together at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for those of you who are joining us here on Facebook, as well as those of you here on the Zoom call. Thank you so much and have a rest of the Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you. Dandavas Pranam.
Thank you so much. Prawn Shackles,
Thank you so much, Mataji.